Idea Dating version 2.0. Was anybody at this last year? A couple of us? Basically, every business there's ever been started with a conversation. The goal of this session is to help people make connections and get feedback. So really, the presentations are going to be pretty simple, and we do still have spots available. The question is, like, what's your idea? And then, what are you looking for? And sometimes the question number 2, the answer is, I don't know. But let's talk about your idea. So last year, we had everything presented from an idea that someone came up with while they were watching one of the first presentations to a pretty much functioning website prototype that has done a lot since then. So it's really this idea of let's start the conversation, let's connect. And my personal goal is that I've been a part of 4 startups, and one of the things I've noticed about every one of them is that we had no diversity of any kind in any of the startups. And a lot of the startups that I've even seen at a distance, all the people are pretty much demographically the same.
You're talking about skill diversity? Or
I'm talking about all kinds of diversity, and primarily I would say age is the biggest one. We rarely see a startup where it's not like, it's a bunch of guys and 25-year-olds.
I went to a pre-party last night. Everybody could have been my grandkid.
Right. Age diversity. I mean, I thought about the first startup I was. It was a bunch of guys in our early 20s. We would have saved a lot of heartache if we could have had a kind of a grizzled veteran who's been there who would say, "Don't do that. Do this." So I'd ask that if you're connecting with people, to keep that in mind, that diversity, the older, the younger, native-born, foreign, you name it, technical, financial. The more diversity is there, the better. If you want to present, you can either tweet the Biz Idea Date, or people who don't tweet, maybe just kind of wave at me or kind of come up here. Okay, good. And last year we ran out of sessions, so we're going to try to keep it moving. Okay. So one of the other most valuable things that people got out of this last year is feedback. If somebody's presenting an idea, tweet your feedback to this hashtag. That helps the people that present, because sometimes they might not make a connection, but they're at least going to get some really good feedback. And I would ask you, please, please, please put away your Minnesota nice. It's much better that feedback be clear than it be nice or diplomatic. So if you want to, really rip into somebody, go ahead and do it. It's helpful feedback for them to hear it earlier rather than later. With that, did I miss anything? This is live without a net. David's going to start. And go right ahead.
3 minutes, I guess, right?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. So we're going to do 3 minutes, and then we'll do about 3 minutes of questions, if there are any. If there aren't, we'll just go on to the next one. Go ahead, David.
Great, thanks. I'm going to talk to you about adaptive management. It's actually a little further along than an idea. We've actually built a product, but look to take it to the next level, and I'll explain why I'm here talking about it. So I described it as a remote microsite delivering improved performance through full interactivity with the admin. It's really a next-generation interactive ad format. We're really seeing a resurgence in display advertising. I could talk about some of the market trends, but anyway, we're consistent with some of that. So basically what we're doing is we're playing pieces of the site in an ad unit that's remote from the site. That's the basic idea. Here's an example of it. I'm not going to take time to go out to the web and show you an example in action, but basically what we do is we take a product catalog, we play the whole catalog, the pieces of the catalog through the display ad. We allow the user to interact with the ad. They choose a category to scroll through different products within the category and ultimately select an item and go right to the product display page on the site. So here's kind of a conceptual diagram, because we're really trying to extend the site out to the edges of the web. We describe that as bringing the store to the user rather than bringing the user to the store. Bringing the store to the user rather than bringing the user to the store. Really along the lines of user-centric design. And let's get that slices of that site further out to the edges of the web. Schematic design is that we can't, it's a bridge too far to get a viewer, a user, to interact with a branded static display ad, click through the site. We're trying to improve interactivity, get more engagement with the ad itself, and then move the viewer into the site. So what we have a unique differentiated vision, and go into great depth. We have an IP portfolio. We actually have 2 U.S. patents in the e-commerce space, more in the pipeline. We actually have an initial product deployment. We have proof of concept in the market. We've actually worked in several market segments and gotten success at the 2 to 4x range in terms of the baseline. What we're looking for, ideally, looking for a product development partner. We built an ASP.NET. We're taking it to the next level in terms of some of the back end, some of the scalability. It's a highly scalable platform. We can build one of these interactive apps literally in minutes. They can be built really easily. I have college interns who can build these things in no time. I want to integrate product refinements from the market experience that we've already had, and can take this product to the next level. I'm losing one of my key developers to Amazon, actually. So kind of good thing. He's actually been an intern with the company and been a key contributor, and Amazon connected with them. So looking to bolster the technology team. Also, I'd be interested in a business development partner. Maybe I do business development. I'm always looking for help in that regard. Really leverage proof of concept and momentum and traction we currently have to really now accelerate market acceptance with next.
Question?
Why would I use this instead of Google Ads?
We can use this with any product catalog, any advertiser can use it. It's very agnostic, generic. It's real, super easy to build, super easy to connect with any product catalog and get more product catalog running. Google's obviously straight.
I think I'll rephrase that. How, as a user, how would this benefit me better than Google or the other sites that are out there that have this adaptive technology? Because I know it's already on the market on browsers. So what do you have to bring to the table to make it different than everybody else?
The depth of the catalog and the smallest of the units. So basically, we can take a lot of functionality. We can basically take a slice of the site, package it into a small module, and distribute it basically anywhere on the web and fit it into your exact packages.
I have feedback. I think you should change the name. Adaptive Avenue sounds like durable medical equipment.
I really don't understand what the site is from your description. I mean, there's too many buzzwords. I think you could simplify it and have a more punchy statement.
Thanks.
What's the price point? What's the cost of
Yes.
to it?
Sure. It's a performance-based model, so either click-based, royalty-based, meaning share of revenue, or performance-based, meaning CPM model. So really offering the advertiser or the publisher a range of options, but taking on the risk of attaching our revenue to the
So there's no cost to getting into the.
We can build it so scalable, we can build so fast, there's no barrier to us to offer this. Really for the advertiser or publisher to risk the media space is the factor.
Okay. Thank you for presenting. So contact information. I'll be tweeting a spreadsheet that has all the presenters' contact information. It'll come out, 10 minutes after the session is done. So if you do want to get in contact with people and you don't see them again or you don't remember their name, just follow this tweet hashtag and you can get their contact info. So, James?
Yes, James.
Sorry. And then data meter, you're on deck.
How many people here know someone with food allergies? Like gluten, soy, corn, dairy, anything. Depending on how well you know them, you know that going out to eat is a complete nightmare. You then call the chef, get every ingredient on the menu, just to verify that everything you can eat there is safe. I see some familiar faces, so this is an idea I pitched at Startup Weekend, and we put a team together, an awesome team. They ended up getting second place. Fortunately, the team was so awesome, they had their own ideas they're working on. So I need some help doing this, but I'm getting a mobile app, and this is kind of a prototype that we have, and it's location-based. Take a look. That will help people find places to eat, crowdsource information from people with the allergies themselves, or from the restaurants themselves. So there's good momentum with this. I've got some great advisors, some people that are helping out. I need some technical help. I'm a tech guy, but I'm still a little bit scattered. I also need someone to help invent the business model, create a business plan and start business development. My idea is to prove a business model locally and see what heck goes from there. I'm also talking with a company in New York that launched a similar product, very early stage, about a week after I did this at Startup Weekends. But we're also talking about a partnership with them. They've got some really cool things in store as well. But this app is kind of a niche app, but this app has opportunity to change people's lives. So it's called Food Seeking, and we'll probably change the name. But I welcome your comments, and I need business developments and some more tech help. I'm pretty much technology agnostic, yes.
I would head yourself over to the University of Minnesota Medical School and find out who some of the researchers associations, since they have groups of people that would be interested, because one is a marketing plan where you can get people that would try it.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of people out there that use this app,
Yeah.
and there's like the X centers.
But it's identifying them. How would you make money?
Possible partnerships with the restaurants, data aggregation. There's a lot of sites that do general kind of restaurant and meal placement. But possibly integrate data, custom data on these platforms, sell it back to them. Part of what we're doing, what I need help with, is finding a business model. So that's something I'm working on.
I like the aggregation idea. I would like to see that kind of information on sites that I already use, such as like Urban Spoon is one all the time. And that's what I would
Yeah, it's hard to go on Urban Spoon or Yelp and find what you need to know. And it's like it's popular in general. Most of it's not very valuable.
Would Urban Spoon and Yelp be a threat if they just add this as a functionality to their app?
I don't think so. This particular problem, it's a very complex problem. You can't just put a checkbox on a form and say, oh, we've solved gluten-free. There are a lot of different levels of severity, so there's really complex domain knowledge involved with what we're doing.
Aren't you taking on a lot of risk by saying that I'm certifying this restaurant as allergy-free to a certain segment of the population, and then they eat peanuts?
He used the word certified, you used the word spread the word, or something, right? There's a big gap that,
Possibly, some people,
The FDA, I mean.
yeah, some people, if they have peanuts, they die. So that's a risk. You need to get those things, and if people will die if they eat something, they will maybe this is the app for you. But there's a lot of people that just avoid peanuts.
Cool. And how far along is the prototype?
Actually, could Data Meter come forward as we listen to this last question interaction?
How far along is the prototype, the code? Do you have a working app, or?
We have a kind of a half, just a very prototype, very early alpha. I'm working on kind of a back end right now, and then I'll get back into the app. So we have things in the works, but I'm kind of scattered doing business development, networking, and kind of doing tech work too. Any more comments?
What are you looking for in terms of people to help? Like, do you have anything in mind?
I think one person help business development, define a business plan, help create a business plan, and start finding a path to revenue. This early improve business model and move forward from there, and also some tech help. I do consulting, so I've got a client work to pay the bills, so someone else that does some tech work, even mobile and back end. That's what I'm looking for as well. Yes.
What platforms are you going for as far as, are you going to go with Apple or Android, or are you trying to go across?
Start with iPhone and go from Android pretty quickly. If Windows makes a play, maybe. But iPhone, Android, and web, I think will give us decent coverage. Let's start with iPhone.
Do you have a crowdsourcing model for getting the data, or?
That's the idea. So So it's something we have to prove, kind of lead model that people actually do it, because there are people out there with this information. People will call restaurants and they'll have 5, 10 restaurants that they know are safe. And throughout the city, that's a lot of information. So there's a lot of people with this information.
Doesn't that make it hard to launch a new city?
What's that?
Doesn't it make it hard to launch a new city if you're relying on all the users to submit their data?
Okay, we're gonna go on to the next one. If you guys could connect offline or tweet, however you'd like, but thanks for presenting and nice hour.
Any questions? Well, I have a box. Where's the website? Go find something. This is a little box. This is kind of outside of the context of what a lot of people have in Minnesota, it seems. We're actually going to be a manufacturer, hopefully. And so what this box is it's got a real smart computer in it. It can store gigabytes of data, and it collects data on just about anything. It's got a little sensor thing that you plug in the top so you can measure temperature and pressure and moisture and any number of things by just popping in different sensors, which we'll make and third parties make as well too. You plug it into a smartphone, and you've got a way of actually a very portable and easy way to take a look at data that you've collected in any number of particular fields. It's pretty well open. We're kind of trying to see if we can reach a broad-based audience with anyone that needs to collect anything, like a mechanic wanting to check out the temperature of a motor when they're testing it, or right now we've got an app in the App Store called OmniDAC 500, which is actually the name of the product. What if we click on product? It actually works standalone right now to measure sound, so you can use it as a security monitor, for instance. It'll take pictures if you wanted to, or even give you a phone call if somebody enters into a room. So it's intended to be a very general purpose way of collecting data. We hope for eventually a pretty broad audience. Right now it fits into the test and measurement market, which is about a $3 billion a year market. And we want to kind of start off maybe with working with hobbyists to kind of move this in. They make a little sensor or buy one and measure stuff with it. So we've got the prototype made, we've got the software made, and we're kind of gearing up hopefully pretty soon to manufacturing a bunch of these things and selling them. And we've got the people at the University of Minnesota making some sensors for us. And that's pretty well it. We're pretty excited about it. And hopefully Minnesota can get back into manufacturing again. So.
You can have an SDK for make my own app using your hardware?
The software can be configured in a number of different ways. Like once you connect the sensor up to the thing, you can specify in the software what you're collecting and the range of data that you want to collect, and it automatically scales a graph and everything like that. Initially, we're going to kind of keep it somewhat closed, but eventually we can make it so that the software is designed to download new firmware onto the computer. So you can really kind of make it for custom uses if you want to as well too, and eventually we'll obviously have SDKs for it.
So why won't you use that Bluetooth?
We are looking into wireless. There's a number of options. The problem with Bluetooth, of course, it's a fairly short range sort of solution, and if you're really looking for something remote, one of these portable personal computers are going to be dirt cheap. These handheld computers are already going down a lot in price. And they've got Wi-Fi built into them. And we've actually got a little mini web server so that you can actually view the thing remotely if you want to on a browser if you want. So initially it's going to be hardwired. At some point, we are looking at different types of wireless solutions. Wi-Fi isn't a slam dunk. It might be, Bluetooth isn't a slam dunk. We might use Wi-Fi, or there's some other protocols that we might want to use too. So.
Do you have any plans to try and do something with your customers in terms of helping them with the data? It's one thing to collect it, just getting data by itself. In this kind of business, often the money's in the service line.
Right. We're not particularly planning any sort of cloud approach, is I think probably what you're thinking of. So what you do is you get a spreadsheet of data that you can load into Excel and evaluate it later on as you will. Or of course, obviously, observe it real time too.
Well, in other words, you build a piece of
hardware, which is the size of the phone itself.
Right.
Why can't we use the phone as your computer, your
It is.
storage and everything? Why do you have that?
Because it can collect data from all kinds of different types of sensors. It can condition the data if you want to, pre-process it so that what you send up to the smartphone really is a summary. You're limited, no matter what technology you use, to the bandwidth, the amount of data that you
No, I
can send.
understand that. My question is, I don't understand that big piece of hardware. Everything can be miniaturized in a very tiny sensor these days,
And if we had funding, we could make it that big. But,
Well, that's something we will look at, because it's going to impact your cost and acceptance in the marketplace.
in terms of what we need, by the way, is, as I mentioned, we kind of want to reach a broad base of people. So we really need to kind of come up with a pretty good social media approach to it as well. And, obviously some sales and marketing and people that have experience with the channel. And
so one thing about the size of it, it's not just a sensor because it can be standalone. It'll store the data and it'll do what it's supposed to do, and then you can come back by and
that's a good point. You've got an SD card thing you can pop out to and plug into your PC.
Okay, we need to move on, so these questions are good. Please tweet them or connect with Sam afterwards. John Whitmer, you're up next.
So are there any entrepreneurs here today? Sure. Okay, anybody doing more than one thing at once? I've had a product for about 10 years that we called AdWizard, and it's developed for people that answer the phone and would like to know why people are calling them. And so you answer the phone and it says, caller for XYZ company from the bus bench. And so now you know that somebody drove by and they saw your ad on the bus bench, and the ad was for XYZ. And the next call you get says call for ABC. And so ABC Tools, may I help you? And it's very simple. It comes into our hosted computer telephony service and gets forwarded to any phone. So, the reason we don't have anything exciting up here is because right now it's all on the telephone. What I want to do is change it a little bit so that when you get a phone call, it pushes that call out to the cell phone and tells it that they're calling in response to the Star Tribune ad. They're interested in that 2007 Chevy that you're selling. Has the typical caller ID name information, and in some cases we may even do a little dip and get you address and where they're calling from and so forth. There's a market for it. We've demonstrated the market for the simple phone ad, and people would just be really excited if we could deliver what I just talked about. We'd deliver that. There'd be a button, and you could press a button to answer the phone, press a button to divert it to voicemail, press a button to divert it to your partner, press a button to answer it on your desk phone instead of your cell phone. Just all sorts of cool things we can do that I'm capable of doing from the telephone side, but have no experience in doing it. I've developed computer software for over 40 years, but everything changes, and only the things you do in the last couple of years count. So I have no direct experience doing it on the phone. So I'm looking for people that can help with the pushing the data to the phone and playing it and doing what we need to do to make the phone do what it's supposed to do. And we don't call it that, but that'll help you remember what it is we're talking about.
So you're requiring the user, or requiring the person who's making the phone call to enter like their location or
the
what
bus
they're calling
bench has
about?
a different phone number on it than the Star Tribune app.
Okay.
So I'm glad you asked that. It clears it up quite a bit. So we've got clients that might have 10 different phone numbers,
okay.
Depending on where they're advertising, so they can measure their advertising, and a call center that's answering calls for various things. In this case, individuals can be a whole call center in your hand.
So what about someone who has one phone number like me? Would you be providing them with 5 different phone numbers if they're selling 5 different cars?
We can do that. And the other thing, we also, in this hosted computer telephony system, we have things that answer and say, thanks for calling ABC. For accounts payable, press for this, press that. And accounts payable, of course, always goes to voicemail. accounts receivable always goes right to the guy that's ready to take the checks in. So if we can do anything from that point of view.
Are you familiar with services like Grasshopper? You looked into that?
What is Grasshopper?
It does a similar thing. I mean, if you can have as many numbers as you want, and it always directed phone numbers that you can have. Something you should check out is actually a competitor of yours.
Does it do the display?
You can do transcribe text. I don't know what you mean by display.
No, there's a lot
They
of.
don't track though, grasshoppers can track like where the call's coming from.
What's that?
On your, when you
Like-
sign in, you can.
No, but he's talking about advertising. So,
Okay. Oh, like
so
the
like,
actual
that's for a
business.
business, so if you
Right.
want like local people in a business that have all cell phones.
Okay, so you're talking about the data metrics.
Yeah.
Twilio is another one you should check out.
I'm familiar with Twilio, but it doesn't do this.
Well, you could use Twilio and an asterisk server to build what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I do use my current platform is Windows, but we're, the new stuff is
But
Asterisk.
doesn't this already exist? I mean, in the real estate industry, for example, there are probably 15 companies that you can get a phone number, put it on a sign for a house, and
Guess who my major clients are?
okay.
But these people want more information when they get a call.
Okay. And how do you transmit that information? Just from a phone call?
Currently,
Yeah.
you get you answer the phone and it says, rent 411 caller on the line for Westside Apartments.
Yeah.
Press 1. And your other choice is to hang up and we'll go ahead and do something else with the call. And I want to extend that and make it more flexible using.
I don't understand what you're trying to do that's different, though. I mean, what information are you trying to get across the wire? Like who the person is, or what income they have, or what?
We can do some of that, but rather than the somewhat cumbersome and time-consuming voice announcement, we can much more quickly display the data so you look at it, you see, and also we can give them more choices about how they want to handle the call rather than just hang up or answer.
Okay. It's almost like you're trying to get just extend a visual cue either on like a Google web application or maybe an application on your phone that's connecting up to the phone.
Right.
So this service does real-time notifications through.
What's that?
A service called that does real-time notifications called PubNode. It's kind of a new one. That you can send a request some data to their intermediary, and they can send real-time notifications to another application or someone who's subscribed to it. So that could be making intermediary services to be to send incoming phone call to another device. Does that make sense at all?
Well, that's probably what I'm looking at doing, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that could be like that might be this intermediary technical solution.
Okay. We can have one more question for this presenter after. Just want to announce, if you haven't tweeted me you want to present, can you at least send up like a scrap of paper that has your name and contact information that you'd like shared, so I can kind of help us flow here. Any more questions for Don? All right, thank you, Don.
Thank you.
And Eduardo, you're on that. Yeah, you're on.
Hi, I'm John Whitmire, and my product is InSphere. Let's talk about networking for a minute. We're all told we need a network, and that's going to get us to our next opportunity. I think what we do really well in networking is we connect with people. We meet someone, we have coffee with someone, we link with someone, and then we don't see them again. I think to get to that opportunity, we need to be building relationships with people. And I think the thing that we're not doing is building relationships. And I think one of the things that holds us back from that is, what do we do with all of this information we learn about the people that we meet, right? At the peak of my in-transition, I was meeting with 10 to 15 people a week. I couldn't remember on Friday who I met with on Monday, let alone what that person on Monday did. InSphere is a professional relationship management service. We're beta testing the product right now. What we intend to do is index all the facts and interactions that you have with people in your professional network, and then we throw analytic tools on top of that help you better manage those people in your professional network. So, instead of just connecting with people now, you have a place where you can dump data about people that you are meeting, so that over time, as you develop relationships with those people, you can come back to that information and you can say, that's where I left off that conversation with that person that I met 3 months ago, and now I want to have another conversation with them. It will track all of your follow-up items that you want to do with them, and it will do more than just that. So, questions?
How would you dump the data about people you met or you're networking with, and how would you overcome the resistance in putting the data?
Yeah, we will pull as much data as we can from other resources so that you can build a profile of people. But there is certain information that's unique. Every time you have a conversation with me, you're going to have to input some information about that conversation. Where else are you going to do that? We will, over time, make it easier for you to input that data, right? We'll either do it through mobile devices or voice commands or other things like that. That will come in time.
I have a first question, but like me as a user, what would this give me beyond just using like an Excel spreadsheet? Like if I'm inputting the data, why don't I just open an Excel spreadsheet?
Have you ever tried to search and sort your Excel spreadsheet? It's extremely difficult to do that. If you use our tools, it will do it very simply and easily and intuitive for you to get access to that data that's inside our service.
So the big benefit is finding data.
Putting data in a reasonable format and then finding and pulling and extracting that data. And then having that data actually do things for you. Let's put it this way. If you want to say all of my priority 1 contacts, I want to be in touch with them every 3 months, who does that today? Because I can't remember who I was in touch with and when I was in touch with them, unless I put a ticker in my calendar. The service will say, if you have not put an interaction in, it will send you an alert. Actually, beyond just sending you an alert, what we'll do in the future is we will put a draft email in your inbox or in your draft box that says, here's what you formatted, and all you have to do is just customize it, push send. So those are the things that we'll do. Rich?
Are you integrating with LinkedIn?
Not yet.
Integrating with what?
LinkedIn.
We will extract through their API certain information so that you can sync your contacts together, but we won't integrate at this point in time. That's right. Hold on, there was a couple questions over here.
What's the main difference between that and Salesforce?
Yeah. The Salesforce is directly for business-to-business interactions, which is talking about product, promotion, pricing, et cetera, and getting to know your clients. What we're doing it on is a personal level.
But they have
Yeah, of course they have a contact, but they don't go into some of the details and fields that we will go into. And it's too big for the individual as well. Salesforce and all the other CRM tools are just too big for an individual. We're bringing it down to a level that makes it practical for you to use.
You're doing relationship history, really.
Relationship management, exactly. Managing your relationships.
Are you integrating with, maybe if you're Reported?
I haven't heard of Reported.
So Reported, if you just give an email address, it displays like in real time the last tweet, last Facebook post, any blog post.
I'll have to look at that.
So you can instantly see like their picture of what they're doing, the last thing they said, where they're located, if they checked in on like.
I'll have to look at Reported.
How do you spell
Was
it?
just acquired by LinkedIn too.
Was it?
Reported post?
Okay. I think I may have actually heard that. Don, the Salesforce question was my question. Okay.
How do I actually input the data? Can I use my voice and like record it?
No, not right now. In the future, we hope to do that, but not right now. You'll have to key it in. You'll be able to bring you'll be able to bring your contacts over from, say, Outlook or Yahoo or Google or LinkedIn or other things like that, but beyond that, you'll have to input the data for now. And some of this data is unique. You're going to have to input it, right?
This is just a little idea, but if I was a person I was meeting with someone, they give me their business card, which is what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
Yep.
We use OCR software.
Yeah, not right now, but we intend to do some of that stuff. I mean, we're just coming right out of the box, offering something, and then we'll continue to keep enhancing over time.
If they have a beta product, what do you need from us?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm a team of 1 right now, although I do have developers that I've hired out. The team will start to expand, so I'm trying to find out who are people in the area that I can start thinking about for the team as it starts to grow. The other thing is looking to get capital as well, and networking with people who have raised capital so that I can then start to learn what's the story I need to do, how do I start to do that. So, sorry, Jacob, I think.
Yeah, thank you. So what do you do well?
What do I do well? I put the whole piece together. I put the plan together. I understand the marketplace. I understand what the gaps are. Draw the team, and so that's what I do. Okay. I'm the business person on the end.
Building on that, what's your professional background?
Thomson Reuters for 10 years, delivering software as a service products globally. So, was there, Matt?
I don't know if you already mentioned it, but do you have a trial or a beta or anything on your
Yeah, I have a
website
beta right now.
Try out?
It's a very small beta right now. We'll release to a larger beta here in a
Okay.
month or so.
So it's limited right now.
Yep. So just contact How do I monetize it? Well, we will give away a big chunk of the service for free, and we will sell some of the analytic tools on it. So we will look for subscriptions for people. So,
have you thought about building a tool within a tool, such as Google Contacts?
Yeah, we have. So I think part of it is thinking about what platforms we want to be integrated with, and then building some of those tools within existing platforms, because people don't want to go to multiple locations, right? So Google might be a great example of how do we build an app within Google so that this information sits right alongside your contacts, right? Is that kind of what you're referring to? Yeah. We're already thinking about that.
Not the strategy from the beginning, no?
No, it's not, because this is a really cost-efficient way to bring the product out. It's just to build our own app, so, or it has been. So, thanks.
All right, thanks. Did I get your contact info?
No, I don't think I gave it to you guys. Yeah. Okay. E at Fantastic. Yeah, my name is Eduardo Drake. I'm a patent lawyer by profession, and a big networker. Go to lots of events that require name badges. Lots of times they're the plastic kind that hang on a lanyard. What I discovered over the years is I always wanted to I kept this big pile of plastic badges and lanyards because I didn't want to throw them away because they were perfectly good. So several years ago, I came up with an idea to make it so that it'll be okay to throw those away. And eventually, I filed a patent application on it. And that idea evolved eventually to putting ads on the back of name badges. And so I have a startup company, freenamebadges.com. We're about giving away name badges to conventions, conferences, trade shows, and I pivoted recently to focus on churches. Self-adhesive name badges. Usually, you write your name on the front, stick on the badge, and you throw away the back as garbage.
Trash can.
So what I want to do is put a coupon on the back of the badge, converting that trash into treasure. So with a coupon, for example, for a Starbucks or Caribou or Best Buy, for example, something has immediate value to the recipient, so that they'll keep it. And then there'll be a QR code or a web link that they can use to go to a web portal and make purchases. The host organization, in the context of making a purchase is made, will earn a commission for that sale. So a church, for example, can leverage the buying power of its entire community, support the operations of the church, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, schools, all kind of organizations that have multiple gatherings with people can leverage that buying power to support their organization. The badges support the development of tight, cohesive communities. I don't know how many of you have been to an event where, or particularly a recurring event, maybe there's people you know at your health club or if you go to church that you've seen them regularly, but you don't know their name. You've forgotten who they are, and there's an element of shame in terms of approaching them to try to say, I forgot your name. We really resist doing that. And so it really breaks down truly cohesive, interactive community. So at a fundamental level, knowing people's names is really critical to our well-being, to our connectedness. So I believe that getting name badges out into the public in a widespread way is a very powerful thing to do. So I propose to give away the name badges to these organizations, allow them to earn revenue to support their cause, and create cohesive community in the process.
What's your turnaround in terms of getting name badge out, such meaning shipping, but you can obviously still make money? You don't want to do overnight air or something like that, but these kinds of organizations think of doing stuff like this at the last minute.
Yeah, one reason I targeted the church market is because it's a recurring event.
For search service.
Right. So I'm not proposing to do last-minute events. So if it's a recurring event, you know it's happening well in advance, and you can stock the churches or organizations with the badges. And I'm mostly looking for the short-term events with the self-adhesive badge, and you know in advance they're coming. Users write their names on them so they can get them in advance and still use them. Good question.
It'd be cool if you could leverage something like maybe the Kinko's API so that you could really do this just in
times, right? So everyone gets paid, and it goes straight to Kinko's. You go to your local Kinko's, you pick it up, you're done.
That's a great idea, yeah. I didn't think about Kinko's as a partner, but I did want to have a self-help website where people would go, load up their data, the information will be distributed to a regional printer. The printers would then drop ship the badges.
Yeah, cool. So is it on a performance, like CPA basis? So if someone actually redeems a coupon, then everyone gets paid, or are they paying just to be on the badge?
Yeah, that's a good question. It could work that way. I was focusing mostly on, or my thoughts were to have the Starbucks or the coupon sponsor just pay a fee to be on the badge, independent of the performance of it, and then have the affiliate marketing drive really the lion's share of the revenue, because then it's easier to track as a purchaser. I mean, there's already infrastructure to track purchases through affiliate marketing infrastructure.
Right.
Is the idea to have like location-sensitive ads on these things, like are they tailored to where the event is, or?
Yeah, my vision is that there'll be a website. You'd come in and you type in your zip code, the nature of your organization, and so then the organization itself would choose the coupon. So based on that location information, you could pull up a roster of advertisers that wanted that particular geographic area.
I would seriously consider just doing this on a CPA basis, because advertisers don't want to pay for traffic. Like, they don't know that it's qualified, they don't know anything, so they're only paying when someone redeems the coupon. And I wouldn't make the organizations choose what the ads are. I just have it completely automated. Like, advertisers can come into your platform, pay for it, and like pick the organization, and the other people, they just get their name on it. That's what I'd recommend. Just make it as simple as possible. The more decisions people have to make, I think the less likely they are to do it.
But a church only wants certain ads.
Right, that's the reason I was led to make a choice, because certain organizations aren't going to like if I have 2 or 3 sponsors, they may not like those. If they can choose those, then I can avoid some of the political issues.
All right, we're going to need to move on to Nathan. Thank you, Eduardo.
I've got like 1 minute here, so I'll keep it very quick, and I'll get my Twitter name up here so you can contact me. The name is fairly descriptive. What I want to do is make it easy to rate anything very quickly and easily on a mobile device. So whether that's a movie or a movie theater or a politician or whatever, just remove that barrier of, I have an opinion about this, but I don't really want to take the time to go to the website, find the contact us information, send an email. I want to make it very quick and easy to do that. So the audience for it is the consumer or anybody with an opinion about a place, kind of like a Yelp review. The general public, which would benefit from the ratings generated, and then businesses would benefit from getting feedback about their product or service. So I have a patent filed for tying locations to ratings as a increasing factor for the quality of that rating. Like, you were actually at Pizza Luce when you rated the pizza, as opposed to being paid 25 cents in Indonesia or something to write a positive or negative review. That stuff happens, and so I'm trying to increase the quality of stuff. So not to pick on Indonesia, but just stuff like that's getting farmed out, and it's decreasing the quality of reviews. So what I need is technical assistance. I have a technical background and a creative background, so I'm good at putting everything together, but I'm not neck deep in the code. So I'm looking for that to get a prototype out, and then from there, funding. Questions?
Do you have a website that's up yet?
I don't, no.
So I just pulled one up right here, same thing that you're doing.
Yeah, right now, yeah. This is a placeholder name. So right now it's at the bottom of a lot of Google mobile location stuff too. So the name will change. It's constantly the same.
Okay.
That geo-validation is an awesome idea. I've never heard of that. Why don't you just focus on that and license that to Yelp and Google Places?
That might be a pivot.
very good point. Yeah.
I think it's going to be harder for you to build community like Yelp. You're going to be more successful, I think, with licensing your ads.
Thanks.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, along those same lines, if you do want to make a licensing play, I suggest that you look at getting on the patent fast track so that you have these patents and you go talk to them. Right. You can do that pretty quickly, and this would be the year to do it. This is the first year the fast track has been available.
Cool. Okay, we're into overtime here, but if Mark Brown, if you want to come up real quick.
Yeah, and I will stand between you guys and March, so I won't be offended if you get up on the screen. I know we're over the time next.
It's overtime.
It is overtime. So I wasn't planning to talk, but I just didn't want to pass up the opportunity to pick the brains of a lot of great people. My name is Mark Brown. I'm the founder of Quad ROI, and actually a participant in the current class of Project Skyway. I'm jumping the back there, one of the co-founders. The business, I'll talk a minute about what the business is, but I have a very specific challenge that I'm hoping to get some feedback on. So the business is actually a business intelligence platform for energy companies, electric and gas utilities, and the service providers that work on their behalf to make investments in clean energy resources, to have better access to data and documentation on the cost effectiveness of those investments. So we're aggregating information that right now is at the state level in the Public Utility Commission docket filing system, as a PDF attachment, but there's really golden data. If you can get that in one place and accessible to folks, it's very useful information. And I live the need for this, working in the industry over the last 3 or 4 years in the ratepayer-funded energy efficiency program space. $8 billion last year the utilities spent to help their customers use less of their product, make investments in energy upgrades in homes and buildings. So so I'm going to stop talking about the business. The challenge we have is I'm trying to take very unstructured information. These are like 300-page PDF files with a lot of tables of numbers that are useful if you can get them into a database with a nice user interface, and just kind of how to get that unstructured data into a structured format as efficiently as possible. I think it's going to be a lot of what will make or break our company and could be a competitive advantage. And so if you guys have any ideas on, you've got PDF files that have useful tables of information and you want to get that into a SQL Server database, we're kind of stripping this out in a somewhat very manual process. We're thinking about, are there crowdsourcing models, ways that you can break down the work and get that out and do it at a low cost. So I'm all ears if anybody has ideas.
We're working a project where basically we've got lots and lots of data that's non-structured, horrible metadata. We're talking with a company named Concept Classifier. You build your own categorization or ontology system, and then as you load data into the system, it automatically tags it and then builds the infrastructure. We might want Concept Classifier. You might want to go out to their website. Cool. We got a neat example with NASA where, there's 100 PDFs that have information about the lunar landing module. It's not appearing. It suggests that you should incorporate that into the system.
Gotcha. Is orbitation ready to come up? I've got bad news to everybody. The line for lunch is already really long. So you should sit here and listen to one more presentation, or just wait in line and stare at the ceiling.
By all means, I know the ceiling is interesting. Go ahead and finish up there.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this?
I would look to network with people with LexisNexis or Thomson Reuters, because they've been facing this problem in terms of collecting all the public records that are available and putting it online. They may have already have a ready-made solution for you.
Mark, I may have connections with that.
Okay. Just about the Westlaw would be that.
Yeah.
The short answer.
So at least that's some of the technology.
Okay. Get your content. Thank you.
Yes, it's up there. John.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You will actually.
Now that lunch is a long line, I'll take a half an hour.
Okay.
So my name is Jacob England. I run a company called Orbitation. And Orbitation is not a tech company, but a lot of tech companies are our clients. So I'm here just to give you a 1-minute pitch on what we do and why we will be able to help you. So Orbitation is designed to do everything that you don't want to do. So if you're a coder and you love coding, go code 92% of your time
and 8% of your time, which if you do the math equates to 15 minutes a day, an hour a week, and a half day a month, you're in contact with your strategic advisor, which is me and other folks in my position as we grow. So the way that we do that is the coders want to code. They don't want to deal with their legal. They don't want to deal with their accounting. They don't want to deal with their branding. They don't want to deal with their strategic plan. And they don't want to deal with their advertising. We've got 15 different service departments that are designed to help companies that we believe in become successful. So if you're interested in developing your idea or making your business something that you're taking from either conception to exit strategy, that's where we come into play. We'll take companies that are startups that we wholeheartedly believe in, but we've got to believe in them wholeheartedly. Or we'll take small businesses and be able to take them to the next level. We do that through a series and a network of contractors that specialize in all these different segments wherever you're looking to expand. That's about it. I'll be in line waiting for lunch.
So you're a real business pitching to us. This is basically advertising.
Yes. If you need help, I'm waiting in line for lunch. That's why I want to be.
It's not really the description of the topic, so.
This is a platform for people to get to know small businesses. It goes both ways.
Okay, thanks for attending, everyone. If you have feedback on this format, I know it's kind of chaotic, please read it.